think I literally heard AOC say this recently, that no one achieves substantial wealth without somehow or another victimizing other people.
But here's the truth. You're not going to get health care to these people by threatening to tax and eat the rich. You raise billionaires' taxes, they just leave the state. Or they leave the country. Or in some cases, the planet.
Bill Maher has entered the conversation again, and this time he is reacting to Joe Rogan's strong pushback against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez' narrative that the super-rich built their fortunes on stolen ground. According to Rogan, politicians like AOC and Bernie Sanders are slowly turning against the traditional American dream, the idea that anyone, no matter where they start, can become wealthy through hard work and innovation. His response has been described as sharp, aggressive, and very direct. So smash that subscribe button, because this debate is getting intense.
Not a businessman, although I kind of am.
You are.
I kind of am in some weird way. I've become a businessman.
Yeah.
But this idea that it's easy to become a billionaire and that these billionaires somehow or another are the problem because they're not paying their fair share is so weird that's a narrative that actually gets pushed through when you look at the actual numbers of the tax base and how much they contribute and how many jobs they provide. And yeah, they make more money than everybody else. Right. You could do that too. It's like, this is one of the things that America is really good at. You can come from nothing and become incredibly wealthy if you figure something out and go, and we just assume that everybody who makes an incredible amount of money stole it.
Joe Rogan strongly challenges the idea that every extremely wealthy person became successful through theft or deception. He argues that this has become a popular narrative in progressive politics, often promoted by voices like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Zoran Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders. This viewpoint focuses heavily on the idea that rich people avoid taxes and exploit loopholes, while ordinary citizens carry the burden. But Rogan and his supporters say the data tells a different story. For example, the top 1% of earners in the United States contribute around 40% of all federal income tax revenue. According to them, this detail is often ignored, even though it complicates the claim that the wealthy are not paying their fair share.
They robbed someone, this is a narrative that gets pushed along democratic socialists, that no one achieves that. I think I literally heard AOC say this recently, that no one achieves substantial wealth without somehow or another victimizing other people.
Yeah. And then Jeff Bezos is the obvious counterexample, which is like every time you do the one click and the thing gets delivered to you 2 hours later at the cheapest possible price, saving you and your family a lot of time and money.
But at the expense of small mom and pop stores, allegedly.
Although a lot of them sell on Amazon, a lot of small businesses sell on Amazon.
From Rogan's perspective, the American system rewards innovation and hard work. He believes that when someone creates a product, service, or idea that improves people's lives, the market naturally rewards that success. This, he says, is the foundation of free market capitalism. Critics of democratic socialism argue that this system misunderstands or rejects that principle. He uses Amazon and Jeff Bezos as an example. While some people claim Amazon destroyed small businesses, Rogan's side argues the company also helped many small sellers grow by giving them access to a global market. Instead of being limited to one local area, small businesses can now reach customers worldwide. In this view, Amazon is not just competition. It is also a platform for opportunity.
The other thing you can do is you can compare and contrast to other countries that have more draconian policies in the direction that those folks are suggesting. And so Europe in particular, many European countries have a much more draconian, are much even more hostile to business, and the result is they are much poorer. Their slower growth are actually shrinking. The people there are much less well off. There's much less funding for social programs, and so you can also do the cross country comparison.
The discussion then moves into broader economic history. Rogan's guest argues that countries with heavy regulations and high taxes often struggle to grow economically. They claim that when governments take too large a share of business profits, it reduces motivation for people to start or expand companies. Over time, this can lead to fewer jobs and slower economic growth. Some European countries are often used as examples in this debate, where higher taxation is linked by critics to lower business expansion. According to this argument, capital and skilled workers tend to move toward places with fewer restrictions and more opportunity, which is why some regions grow faster than others.
I paid to the government, if you add in state tax, local sales, property, fees, Obamacare, probably almost 60% of what I earn. That's a lot. And I still wouldn't mind if Bernie Sanders would stop saying the rich don't pay taxes. And while I'm sure the super rich with their army of accountants and corporate loopholes get away with, us regular rich people pay a of taxes. And who stands up and gives us a pat on the back? Nobody, that's who.
Bill Maher adds his own perspective, supporting parts of this argument with his personal experience. As a high-income individual, he has said that a large portion of his earnings, around 60%, goes to taxes. He uses this to challenge the idea that wealthy people are not contributing enough. In his view, the narrative that the rich avoid paying taxes is misleading. Instead, he argues that high earners already contribute a very large share of government revenue. Maher's point is that if even wealthy liberals like him are paying significant taxes, then the argument about no contribution becomes much weaker and needs to be re-examined more carefully.
The top 10% pay 72% of all federal income taxes, and the bottom half, 3%. The Democratic Socialists talk about socialism like we don't already have a lot. Social Security, unemployment, Medicare, nutritional assistance, Medicaid, Obamacare, disability, housing subsidies. Again, not against it, just the same question. How can you be soaking the rich and failing the poor so badly?
Maher also raises a deeper question about how government money is actually used. He points out that massive amounts of tax revenue already flow into federal and state systems, yet many major problems remain unresolved. He uses healthcare reforms like the Affordable Care Act as an example. While it was designed to improve access to healthcare, critics argue that many people still struggle with high costs and limited access. This creates a bigger question. If so much money is already being collected, why do many issues remain unchanged? Maher suggests that the focus should not only be on raising more taxes, but also on improving how existing funds are managed and distributed.
Money can't buy happiness, but it sure can buy healthiness. Half the country can buy access to concierge doctors, specialists, new treatments, personal trainers, nutritionists, private chefs, and whatever Gwyneth Paltrow is putting in her vagina. And the other half has the place I was just talking about, remote area medical, the pop-up healthcare clinic that rolls into town once a year like a county fair, except instead of riding the tilt-a-whirl, a volunteer doctor pulls your infected tooth. And the saddest thing in the 60 Minutes piece is that nothing has changed since they covered it in 2008.
Healthcare in the United States is often used as an example of this debate. For many people, medical costs are so high that they sometimes rely on temporary clinics or charity services for basic care. Critics argue that this shows a system that is not fully working for everyone. California is also brought up as another example. Despite high tax rates and large government budgets, the state continues to face problems like homelessness, rising living costs, and stalled infrastructure projects. Critics question where all the collected tax money is going, especially when many visible problems remain unsolved. This contrast between high spending and ongoing issues is a central point in the argument.
Here's the truth. You're not going to get health care to these people by threatening to tax and eat the rich. You raise billionaires' taxes, they just leave the state. Or they leave the country. Or in some cases, the planet.
Another major point in the discussion is that high taxation can sometimes lead wealthy individuals and businesses to leave certain states. Critics point to places like New York and California, where higher taxes are followed by some companies and high earners relocating to states like Florida or Texas. According to this view, when wealthy people leave, they take jobs, investments, and economic activity with them. This can reduce the overall tax base and potentially harm local economies. Supporters of Rogan's argument say this shows that policies aimed at heavily taxing the rich can sometimes produce the opposite result than intended.
I kid Elon, but he had a good idea recently that might be apropos here. During the recent government shutdown, he volunteered to pay all the TSA workers himself, with couch money. That's how super rich our super rich are. They can single-handedly fund entire government programs. Okay, so let's make that a thing. The Adopt a Cause challenge for billionaires.
Rogan supporters also argue that wealthy individuals contribute to society in ways beyond taxes. They point out that many fund hospitals, universities, research projects, and charities voluntarily. When they relocate, some of that private funding can also move with them. Critics of heavy taxation argue that this kind of private contribution is difficult for governments to replace. They also say voters are becoming more aware of the gap between political promises and real-world results. As a result, they believe these issues could play an important role in future elections, especially as people evaluate economic policies more closely heading toward 2028.
Just skip the middleman, the government and the healthcare bureaucracies that, for whatever reason, no matter how much they take in, never seem to get enough to the people, and just shame the billionaires into doing it directly because they have all the money, and noblesse oblige isn't just the name of a cologne.
Overall, the conversation highlights a major disagreement between progressive political ideas and free market arguments. One side believes the wealthy are not paying enough and must be more heavily taxed to create fairness. The other side argues that the wealthy already pay a large share and that innovation, not punishment, drives economic growth. Examples like tax data, business expansion, and state migration patterns are used to support both sides. In the end, the debate centers on one key question: does higher taxation create fairness, or does it risk slowing growth and pushing opportunity away? And with that, the discussion comes to a close.